And one thing people ought to understand is that in the developing world, it's not the voter that counts. It's the person who counts the votes.
Yeah.
So we have seen a lot of that coming up, and most of those people who go to those crowds are either die-hard supporters or crowds that have been ferried in. And because I've just come from West Pokot, Rift Valley, and Kisumu today,
yes,
most of those people are not coming there because they want to please you or to raise their hand this way. Some of them are paid. They are ferried the place to have that momentum that so and so is popular. But in actual sense, we've seen those kind of crowds before. Raila failing in the elections, Kibaki failing in the elections, and it's the same people.
Okay.
It's not that that different people are coming in today. Tomorrow, if I decide to go to Uhuru Park, the same people will come, and if you come in the day after that, so it will depend on your pockets. But for our system, we are quite different.
Okay, well, if you look at the deputy president influence and this new outfit that has been formed, the UDA, it's been gaining traction day by day, and those allied to the party have been preaching this narrative that they actually do have the numbers. As you've mentioned, you've been doing your tours in different regions. From your assessment on the ground, is this, or are the numbers perceived, or they actually do exist, that people affiliate with this new political outfit?
Those are just mockeries, mockery to justice. You want to show the world that you're more popular, but then you're still doing the same thing over and over. In fact, that's a very high level of degree of insanity.
Yeah. All right. Well, Honorable John, let me just bring into this conversation tonight. Of course, if you had the question that I asked Prof, I talked of critics saying that numbers alone do not win elections. And just a few days ago, we also saw the Nyandarua governor talk of something pertaining to the deep state and probably sort of reaffirming that it actually do exist. If in an instance there comes a presidential candidate who's not as popular as the deputy president right now, do you think with the help of the state that he or she clinches that seat?
Yeah, Alan, I think numbers matter. Numbers matter a lot. And when we talk about numbers, we talk about the level of conviction that people have gotten, the extent to which you have reached the people. A voter makes a decision upon having known who it is that is contending, the candidate. If a candidate is not popular in the sense that the candidate has not shown themselves to the people, then of course they will not vote them. People will vote people they know, people they trust, people they believe in. So when you talk about numbers, you talk about the people who will turn out on the day of voting and cast a vote for their candidate of choice. So in this particular case, I wouldn't dispute the fact that numbers do not matter. They do, because you realize that at the end of the day, the regions that have got high numbers in terms of population, where the demography basically dictates that they carry the day. And in the coming election, it will be won by the person who gets the Mount Kenya vote. We are talking about 9 million votes. If you can get a large proportion of 9 million votes, you'll already be way ahead of the others. One thing that might play in this time around is that there may be no candidate from Mount Kenya region, and therefore whoever it is that is coming up as a presidential candidate will definitely need to get someone strong, someone popular, someone known in the Mount Kenya region to be able to garner the numbers for them. So I would believe that numbers will matter any time in an election. In any election, numbers matter.
Okay, well, Honorable John, you've mentioned quite an interesting issue. You've talked that the next person who's going to actually clinch the presidential seat must have that backing from the Mount Kenya region. And looking at how the Mount Kenya region has been operating for the past few months, we're talking about Mount Kenya East, Mount Kenya West. Some leaders saying the region is divided, some saying it is not divided. Moving into 2022 and the disunity that we've witnessed in the Mount Kenya region, are you worried that come next year, maybe that question about the numbers might not be of high importance as you put it as of now?
Alan, I think we need to look at this a little bit differently. There is a division within the leadership and not within the people. The leaders are just a few. They have about 10, 15, 20 votes. We're talking about a few leaders taking sides. But the masses vote. We're talking about the voters. The voters are solidly behind what they believe will sort out their problem. Whoever sells the best policy to them, in terms of whoever addresses their issues, they will need somebody who will improve this economy, somebody who will improve their revenue, the person who is going to make sure that their milk will sell better at better prices, their tea will sell at better prices, their coffee will be remunerative, their potatoes. That's what they're looking at. They're looking at who is going to deliver that. They're not looking at who will have the biggest or the most interesting slogan. It doesn't matter to them.
Okay.
Mount Kenya will be solidly behind that person who convinces them that besides being somebody from outside the mountain region, he will deliver what they are interested in.
All right.
And that is exactly what matters to them. Them, it is the economy. It is the rural economy. It is the economy of the people. It is money into the pocket. That is why the slogan of one man, 1 shilling, one vote, 1 shilling matters, in the sense that who is going to be the person to manage this economy, to improve the earnings at the household level, to improve the earnings at the family level, to improve the earnings at the business level. Who is that? That's what they're looking for.
All right, fair enough.
They're not interested in many other things that probably we would be. And the politics of Kenya have changed over time. People have been educated to listen to the candidates, to listen to who makes sense in terms of translating their lifestyles.
Okay.
Who impacts their social economy. That's really what matters.
All right, fair enough, Honorable John. Let me just bring Prof back into this conversation. Prof, he's talked about there is division in the Mount Kenya region in terms of the leadership and not the people. Just as you weigh in on this, he's also talked about the issue of politics in Kenya having changed. Has it really changed?
Thank you very much, Dr. Mutunga. I think I made a mistake. I didn't acknowledge you. I honor you very much, and as a member of parliament, I'll be visiting you to ask for the same votes from Mount Kenya. But one thing Dr. Mutunga has not told us is that's who are selling policies in Mount Kenya. They are not also telling the people of Mount Kenya and Kenyans in general how much they have stolen from them.
Okay.
It's always good to come up and be yourself. Don't come up with the monies you have stolen from the same people, and you are giving them the same money, passing them around yourself, and telling people that I'll bring these policies to you when you have stolen from the same people. That's number one. Number two, what they're also not telling people, especially with a good coined language, is what are we going to do with the corruption?
Yeah.
It's very key. What are we going to do with the corruption? Are you going to legalize it? And that's the language that we are seeing today. Vote for me, I will legalize corruption so that everybody will be a thief. Number three, you also find out that most of these members of parliament, and particularly from Mount Kenya and particularly from Jubilee,
yes,
they were not popular at all. They were given those tickets to run during that time of the primaries, and that is in plain view. And that's why I always agree with the vice chair, the former vice chair of Jubilee Party. So it's those people who are now rounding around people, knowing that they're there by virtue of having been fraudulently coming, and I'm not saying all of them.
Yes.
And bear in mind that there were popular leaders who could have won those seats, but because they were replaced by these people have to die hard to support what they want to support to make the world realize that they are more popular on the ground. And that's why you see some of those crowds, they're engineered by some of those people. And let me also tell you today, and I'm happy to be here after traversing the country so much.
Yes.
You find out also that people are afraid. If they don't win, they'll be taken to jail. Because atrocities don't rot. Criminality don't rot. Let us not coin ourselves with talking blue band all the time. Let us tell Kenyans the truth. How comes that we have not had an issue? We have not preached the gospel of equity. We have not preached the gospel of employment. Employment, the gospel of equity, the gospel of healthcare, gospel of affordable equity in terms of water, in terms of welfare. How comes that people are not talking of having a welfare nation, particularly of those people who are vulnerable, especially children, the elderly, and the disabled? Let us tag issues. Don't come and tell us these issues of telling us every day, as you always tell us. Oh, I'm going to win, I'll bring you. You'll bring us what? Tell us what you've been doing there for the past 8 years.
Okay.
What have you done? Why aren't you talking about corruption?
Yeah.
We don't want this issue of coming on television and looking so nice and having suits, and then at the same time not talking what Kenyans want to hear. Kenyans want to hear what you have done for me as my member of parliament, as my politician. How much have you stolen from me that you are giving me now for me to come in big numbers?
All right.
Let's not have corrupt.
Let me give Honorable John the opportunity to just respond to the very sort of serious allegations that has been made by Professor Wajakoya here that the legislators from your region are not preaching about the money that you've stolen, you're not preaching the gospel of change. Why is that? Maybe just respond to this, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you very much. I also would like to acknowledge Professor Mkoya. And I would like him to revisit the issue of stealing. When people steal, we have laws that should be used to apprehend them. They should be held responsible. When you call somebody a thief, you must have evidence that this person has stolen. If we have thieves walking around, do we have a country? Do we have laws? If somebody has not been apprehended as a thief, it would be very wrong for you to politicize that particular notion, to call somebody a thief. I think it is very wrong for somebody to come out and say people have stolen, members of parliament have stolen, and the leaders have stolen, and they're using the stolen money to distribute to the people. I think it is the approach that you use to reach the people. How do you define popularity? It is how you identify with the people, how you gel to the people, how you make the people understand that you actually interpret their problems correctly.
Yes.
It's not just maybe appearing in media or probably imagining that probably going to school is good enough. No, it is how you gel with the people. It is the extent to which you reach them. And in Kenya, the approach has been you have to appear in their functions. You have to identify with the socio-economic activities that they have been having. Okay. So the issue of corruption, I am one person who probably does not condone corruption. I've been a member of parliament for 4 years, and I have a track record of the work that I've done. If you care, you would probably find out what people are doing in their backyards. Okay. The imagination that everybody who comes out and probably has some money to contribute to a Harambee or probably to a function is a thief is a wrong imagination. I think what we should be telling Kenyans is how do we fix the problem we are in right now? We are in a problem of debts. We are in a problem of a failed economy. We are in a problem of, you talk about equity. How do you ensure equity?
Okay.
How do you share the national? I mean, the parliament is there to share the national resources.
Okay.
If there is an executive hand in the share of national resources, how can you say you're ensuring equity? Because the parliament is not free in sharing national resources.
All right. I need you to just,
and then they influence left, right, and center.
I need you to hold that thought.
It's very important for us to be telling Kenyans the truth. Look at other parts of the world.
Let me cut you short. Let me ask you to hold that. Just hold on to that thought. We'll get back into those deep, nitty-gritty issues as we continue. But just as we move away from that and probably digress into another scenario, which is actually really important, let's just have this video up and watch it to see how we're moving on. Let's have that up right now.
Mimi nimeona juzi mabishop wa Catholics wanasema kwamba President Uhuru na Ruto wafanye handshake. Mimi hiyo handshake itakuwaje? President Uhuru lazima heshimiwa, hata kama alikosana mtu, aheshimiwe, huyo ni president. Kama ni handshake ifanyike, wale watu wanasimama, wale watu wanataka kiti. President Uhuru hataki kiti, mtu anataka kiti ni Ruto na Raila, wao ndio wafanye handshake na isimamiwe na President Uhuru na kuheshimiwa.
Prof and Honorable John, you've watched that video and it's touching on an issue that sort of comes off lightly as of now, and we've had people from both sides saying and pushing for the handshake between the head of state and the deputy president, some saying it does not necessarily matter. What I'm trying to understand, as we move into next year's general election, what is the repercussion, if there is any, of the head of state and the second in command not being at power moving into next year? Do we treat it as something critical, as serious, or it's just another day in the office?
Thank you very much, and I have to congratulate my former classmate, Ndolo. Ndolo's my classmate, and you can see he's talking a lot of sense. I think the person who taught us in City High School must have connected some genes between me and him, because that's the language that I want to hear. The issue of handshake, I think, and the bishops, I was on this television the other day, and I said this is purely out of order, completely. Because when some of those bishops were inviting the deputy president in their churches to raise funds, they were very happy dancing and relating. But what they did not tell Kenyans is, where did the money come from? Because bishops have a moral responsibility as men of cloth and men of God. They have moral responsibility to tell somebody like what the bishop of, the Anglican bishop, what is the name again? Lecit?
Ole Sapit?
Ole Sapit. I love that man. I don't know him, but I would like to have a cup of tea with him, because he recently now told them, get out of the church and go away. Don't bring whatever you have been doing out there here. Now, if the bishops now are coming, does it mean that the monies they have been getting is now over, and now they want to commingle the president who has been fighting corruption, the president who has brought out and he has come up, he has appealed to Kenyans with his own members of parliament, both from Jubilee and what have you, please let us build this country, let's move forward, let us have peace, let's shake hands of everybody. Kenya is for everyone. And then the same bishop were coerced to have monies that belong to the Kenyans. And now when the money is gone, they're coming out to say that people should shake hands. That in itself is blasphemy.
So it's, according to you, it's just a normal day?
It's not a normal thing, it's an abnormal thing. You don't think that the president is stupid now to be coerced to say, come and shake the hand, now peace has come. The president has tried to bring peace. But anytime he wants to bring peace, he says, well, we want peace in this country, but we also want to tackle corruption. We want to know these people have been stealing. Can they be arrested? And you saw the reaction. Oh, the president is now arresting our people who are being targeted. And if you know, if you can see the people who are being, the so-called people who have been appointed and for purposes of stealing, some of them did not even have proper education. There were political appointees whose hand was to come into the till. And when the president came up and said, well, we want accountability, they turned against the president.
Fair enough.
So right now, I think, I'm not being sarcastic, but the reality is, whether the handshake comes in or not, is it realistic right now at this particular time?
All right, Honorable Njuguna, let me just, pardon me, Mutunga, let me just give you an opportunity to also respond to this. Is there any repercussion, as the church leaders are saying, as we are heading into 2022 and we have the head of state and the deputy president not on the same page, that we could have some serious adverse effects? We're even talking about polarization effects. Do you believe this is the case?
Alan, I don't think there is any likely repercussions at all, because that's a totally different ball game. The president will not be a contender in the next election. His term ends at the end of his of the 11th parliament. So he will not really be an important factor when it comes to the next election. He will not be contending. Whoever, even if he joins any side, that is his own choice, because he has the democratic right to join whatever side, to support whatever side. But let me say something about what my friend has said on the other side. When it comes to what the church says, or what any denomination says, it depends on the opinion of the church or the opinion of the individual at that particular point in time. It is not that the money is finished. It is not that they have not stopped doing the things that they have been doing.
Yeah.
Why are we picking one church out of many? Three church groups, the Methodists, and several others, 2 others, have already come out clearly and saying that they have no problem with the people going to the churches, and the politicians will be given a chance to talk to the people.
Yes.
So it is an opinion of an individual which we cannot just generalize. On the other hand, when it comes to the issue of apprehending the people dealing with corruption, I think the president has the best chance now, because he doesn't need to be elected a president again, to deal with corruption. What do you mean by he is intimidated by people going to, talking about people from their backyards? I think it doesn't make sense. Let him apply the law, let him apprehend whoever is corrupt, let's deal with the corruption. He has the greatest chance. Okay. I don't think he needs to be president next, unless he's planning to be president after this.
Okay.
So I don't think it makes sense anyway to say that he cannot do it. I don't think the law provides that. The Constitution does not provide it either.
Okay.
He should be able to deal with it squarely.
Fair enough. Fair enough for that. A big toll. We are just running out of time. But Prof, of course, when you talk about dealing with corruption, there's a lot of bureaucracy that is involved in it, and I believe that's not even a story that can end today. But you've made it very clear that you're running for the presidential seat come next year. And if you hear people who've been in the political scene for quite some time, I came across an article where there was an interview with Noah Kesa. He said coalitions have always been the way to go in terms of getting at the top seat. As somebody who's declared his candidature, are you going to see yourself aligning yourself with a coalition, or you're going at it alone?
I'm going at it alone, because even if I get 5 votes, I'll thank God for that. I'm not going to commingle with the people that have seen destroy this country. I'm not going to commingle with the people that have seen lying to the nation. I'm not going to commingle with the people that have seen getting richer and richer, unless I want to corrupt my mind.
Okay.
But let's say this. After the election, we may have our party, the Roots Party of Kenya, may think of a coalition after the election.
Yes.
But I'm not going to repeat the same mistakes that other political parties did the other time, or I'm not going to be staple number 2 to somebody. I am going this way. Even if I get 5 votes, let Kenyans decide.
Okay.
But I'm not going to go with the people who have loaded themselves with a lot of corruption, a lot of money on their train, so that I become part of that and start singing their slogans.
So for you, it's an issue of integrity. Moving forward, purely that.
Period.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I wish I had more time to continue this conversation, but that's just about it for tonight's conversation. And maybe just before we wind this up, in just under 60 seconds, Honorable John Mutunga, I keep on getting that wrong, my apologies, Mheshimiwa, but we've talked a lot about politics right here on today's show. So maybe just to give you this opportunity on your final thoughts on the same.
Thank you very much, Alan. I would like to just say that if one is contending for a seat in Kenya, money matters. Let's not cheat ourselves. You have to produce posters, you have to travel the country, you have to talk to people, you have to make sure that you can drive your campaign. Even President Obama, when he went for his first term, he looked for money, he fundraised. So you'll need money anyway. Whichever seat it is, when you want to be an MCA, you will need money to move around, you will need money to buy, to hire public address systems or buy yourself some. You will need to convince people. But what is important is that Kenyans are slowly learning why they vote. Kenyans have just been voting probably for whoever reaches them or whoever probably convinces them otherwise. On the other hand, I would also like to go back to my backyard and say that my people are aware of the kind of work I've done, and I'm sure they are comfortable, and I'm sure they are making their decision based on the kind of work we've done. Okay. I told them I will just go for once. I will seek for their vote empty-handed once. Thereafter, they will be checking my kind of work and comparing what I've done with what the others have done.
All right.
So if they have done better, then probably they could do better.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm sure I've done several times better than people who have been there for more than 2 terms.
Okay. Fair enough, Mheshimiwa. You know, it's always a hard issue just winding this up. But thank you very much for your time this evening, gentlemen. I was engaging Professor George Wajakoya, a presidential candidate for next year's general election. And as if you heard him, he's made it very clear for him it's an issue and running on integrity. And maybe thereafter they can discuss coalitions once the next government is formed. Also on this discussion tonight was Honorable Dr. John Mutunga, the Member of Parliament of Tigania West, sharing his sentiments on the same. At this point, we want to take another break right to the Sunday Review, but do stay with us. We have some sports news coming right up next.
What would you do with 20 million shillings? The biggest maximum payout per bet in Kenya. Kuwa mshindi. Fanya uamuzi. Mozart Bet.
Just because Premium Free brings you an amazing bouquet of channels completely free doesn't mean we can't up our game. How? Well, we won't know unless you tell us. Help Premium Free be even better and stand a chance to win airtime prizes